order at 7:02 p.m. For the Corporation of Township of Brookmel and Dawson Raglan, this 6th day of January. Roll call, Councilor Lennox.
Yeah.
Councilor Caulfield here. Councilor Keller
here.
Councilor Quad
Present.
We have a quorum. Okay, resolution that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Brookmel and Dawson Raglan adopt the agenda as amended to include items 8.6, tractor report, 8.7, seasonal roads maintenance, 8.8, roads maintenance standards report, and 8.9, special meeting, and 10.4, bylaw for level of services. Could I get a mover, please? Sure. Councilor Keller, seconded by Councilor Banks. Any discussion?
Not at this time.
Okay, we'll vote. Those in favor?
Yes.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Does anyone have any disclosure pecuniary interest in regard to anything on the agenda this evening?
I know.
Okay, seeing there's none. Okay, delegations. Junior, and you see you brought some people with you. You can present your whatever you have to say there.
Okay, before I present this to the council, first of all, Happy New Year to each one of you.
Thank you. Same to you guys.
We all have a good Christmas, good holiday. Good. So, I'm sure most of you know why I'm here this time. I've been coming here for all along, presenting not an argument, but a discussion about the Quad Community Center. So, what had happened was that what upset me a bit was that snow plowing had ceased at the Quad Community Center. So I didn't know why it had ceased and what we had done wrong. So according to what my wife had said, she spoke to the mayor on the phone, that the snow plowing was seized and done by her and the CRC. So I just want to clear that up before I bring this to the table. So was all council members included in that on ceasing that snow plowing?
I wasn't.
This is not a personal event.
No.
This is just
No, I'm just saying I wasn't. I didn't even aware about it.
We were made aware after the fact.
Yeah.
Because
after
it was
the fact you're over.
because of what our insurance company had said to us, and then it was I had asked that it be placed on the agenda for this meeting. So it was already placed on the agenda for this meeting before you filed your thing, so it could be discussed.
I just asked next time, Mayor, that you would talk to me personally.
I was led to believe that you had already had a discussion with someone from the office when I was called.
That was after the fact. No, I didn't have a discussion with anybody at the office, but my wife did. Who is the secretary of the club?
Yeah. Well, I think it was temporarily suspended because of what our insurance company had told us.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
No, I didn't know that. It did upset me. And I did say stuff to, is it Justin? Justin, it is, I said some stuff to Justin. I wasn't rude and arrogant. I was just upset, right? But, in future things, that thing should happen is that, you should have a meeting with your counselors and discuss things. And, until things are resolved, you shouldn't cease things.
So just, okay, just make it clear what transpired. So plowing was expected prior to pursuing. And it didn't happen, so then what? Want to call the township office?
Well, we phoned to see if the township would plow. Because we had quite a bit of snow, we had our.
Okay, well, that's what I want from it. I don't know what brought this all on, obviously. It
We had
wasn't that.
snow that
Wasn't
year,
that.
so we had the community center rented and we had our bingos coming up. We just had a bunch of events going on that had been needed to have a plow. And, you know, there's no issues in years before.
Okay, I think what happened originally from the start was Wanda called.
Well,
talked to Jordan about plowing, and none of us were aware that the township even plowed there. I honestly did not know the township plowed there.
It's been plowed as long as I've been alive, but yeah.
Yeah, and apparently no one in the office here knew it either.
I'm not sure how anyone from Bottle would know that, but.
Yeah, well, I'm not from Quaddle.
Now I can fill you in on one that I'm happened here. So I received a call from Wanda.
Yeah.
She filled me in that there was a number of events coming up at the community center and the yard needed to be plowed. And I said, okay, I'm not aware that we plowed your yard and I would look into it. And she again said, well, it needs to be plowed. So I will look into it. And that's kind of where the conversation ended, and before too long, councilors started getting phone calls, the mayor got a phone call, and I got another phone call. And it was just a whole ball of events happening. And everybody was trying to figure out what was going to happen here.
And I think you and I had a discussion and you said, what will I do? And I said, well, I guess go ahead and plow it and we'll discuss it at the January meeting. And then our insurance sent us a letter and said that it's private property and if we plow it and anything was to happen and we got sued, we don't have insurance for it. So it left me in a very precarious situation where if I said, okay, we'll go ahead and plow it and something happened and we were sued, the municipal insurance then wouldn't even cover me because the Municipal Act will only allow the municipality's insurance to cover a municipal representative if you're acting in good faith. Had I made the decision to go ahead and have it plowed when our insurance company said no, I don't believe that would be considered a good faith decision.
Excuse me, but is this the same insurance company that you've always had?
Yes.
So say in 2021, 22, they didn't say anything about plowing.
Well, I guess nobody knew we were plowing.
See, the only one thing, in the last 8 years I've been on council, plowing has never come up. No. All your other issues have. Plowing never has. I was aware of the plowing happening. That's what I'm saying though. So the only two that probably were aware of it was John and I mean, we never ever brought it to the table. There was no reason to.
And so
I just thought you guys knew.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. That's gonna be a assumption, right? Because it's happening. And even last year, like, who was plowing the yard last year from the township? The township wouldn't know.
Sure.
Well,
Okay,
the
sure.
Quaddle garage knew. But
I later contacted Delmer to discuss it.
Yeah.
So it's very well, surely you guys probably weren't aware that it was
No.
by the township.
And at that time, I said, well, I guess we'll continue until we know what is gonna happen. And we got word back from insurance, and back to the end of it.
So, you know, the understanding is confusion. It has happened, right?
Yeah.
And that led me to a lot of things that led to confusion. So I have I've come to this council for the last 11 years, stating that where's your paperwork? Right? You know, there's lots of rumors on who owns the community center.
you do.
No, I don't.
The Quaddle Recreation Association owns it as far as I'm aware. It was transferred to use in 1998 by the township prior to amalgamation.
Yeah.
From what I understand, it's the committee itself that owns and runs the center. If at any time, if I recall back in that when that was done up, I almost think that if that ever dissolved, then it actually goes to the town.
Yeah, it comes back to the township, right?
Yeah, I'd have to look at that again.
You know, it's,
I didn't think it went back to the township. I almost think it went to, believe it or not, I almost think it was any other club or organization that had a chance to.
yeah, I don't know, that would be
Yeah.
the full lease agreement, because it's a lease agreement, right? One more lease.
No,
agreement.
it's not.
So there was a lease agreement in 1992 for 20 years, which included the snow plowing at that time. Then in 1998, before amalgamation, the Quadville Recreation Association went to the then Brunel and Lindau Township to have the land transferred to them.
Okay, so it's actually deeded.
We deeded it.
Okay,
I was on the committee then. That's why there's taxes on that property. Because it's owned by a private organization.
Yeah, see, all I remember was the kind of the lease thing, I was completely unaware of
Yeah.
the change in hands.
And then when it was transferred to the Quadville Recreation Association, the lease agreement became redundant because they.
I just remember back in.
And that was an amalgamation.
Yeah, at the time.
So Wayne was president at that time. On the committee, and it was a $2.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Sorry.
So when I came to this council, not this council, right? It was back when,
Well, if it's 11 years ago, it wouldn't have been.
Norman probably, yeah, would have been Norman.
so I asked them then, and I know it's Tony McGregor and I, to them that your lease is up on the private community. So that was in the time I was president and Tanya was treasurer. And as they stated, and council had stated that they have no lease agreement on this community center. So I said, find your agreement with it because your lease is up. So if you go back in your minutes, you'll see that I have presented that. So this is a legal document. It doesn't state that the board owns this community center. Yeah. It just says the lease is up. In 2012.
In 1998, though, okay, you guys bought the property and it's leased on their land.
Where's my,
Right there.
Well, there was a deed issued and it was transferred to the Quadville Recreation Association for $2.
I was trying to explain that. I was on the committee at that time.
So why wasn't this presented to me like a long time ago?
We had copies in that cover. We're shipping copies with all those old minutes and stuff like that. So were they even from there when you guys took over? I don't know.
There was nothing before 2011. Nothing in those covers.
Well, I know they were there. That's all I can say. I've gone through there. I personally still have a copy.
Well, we can give you a copy of the deed. I mean, that's not a problem. We do have it in the bylaw when it was transferred. So, are you Dave Junior copy? Okay, you have, we can keep that copy. This
That's
was,
the same copy.
pardon?
Not the same copy.
Yeah, the lease agreement is in there as well as the bylaw with the deed transferring the land to you.
Yeah, but there's no record of a bill of sale that I see being sold to any persons anywhere.
This is the.
Then when I became president and the board then should have got a notification stating that you own this property, you have to take care of it. If you don't take care of it, then it goes back to the township. I never got anything.
So
Well, it would be the association that would have to have copies of that because whoever was there before you.
I asked for copies. I never received copies. I've never received a lease agreement. I've never received a renewal. I never received anything. And I've been asking for 11 years.
So the transfer of deed was done in 1998 with the former township of Broomell and Lindau.
Yeah.
Not Broomell, Lindau and Red.
So that was prior to the amalgamation.
Yes.
Yeah. It was right before amalgamation, and that was the reason for them transferring it over to us for $2. And we took ownership just for the fear. After amalgamation, the fear was maybe they would close that little community center
Okay.
and make one big one.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Here,
remember.
so
Dad
that was
said
the reason
yeah,
for
there was a reason, I remember Dad talking.
Mhm.
So where is the agreement?
There is an agreement now because you own it.
Did you give them both copies, or didn't
Yeah, they're all stapled
you?
together.
Staples there. You got a 92 lease agreement with the
The
1998.
deed is just to the recreation center, right?
But the lease agreement would have become redundant when the property was
Yeah,
transferred
it would.
to the recreation association, because it was a lease agreement.
Yes, it would have terminated.
Yeah.
I was unaware that it was transferred. I didn't know that, he didn't know that.
We had something to talk
I had no idea.
That was bringing out.
Yeah, Dad and Gilbert, and yeah, I remember. I just didn't know about the deed portion of it. Not that I have to know. but I
That's
mean,
what I'm saying in that. You know what, if I dig around it on the moment or somewhere, I'm gonna find that somewhere. But I'm sure in there it said if that committee ever dissolved,
Yeah, I don't know.
that
That's what I was gonna say.
would offer to the next
What would
service
happen?
club or even a fishing club for that matter.
Yeah.
Some kind of a service club would be offered to them.
Then what happens to it if nobody takes it over? Does it go back to the
Well,
township?
then it go for land, it would go to back taxes, right? Back taxes would be what would happen.
Yeah, because it's part of the property.
Yeah.
You have to follow the same process.
Yeah, they would follow that.
I have that somewhere. I will try to
Well,
find
if it's private property, who actually owns it, then there should be a name on the,
On the deed,
No,
it's
it's
the Quad
just-
Recreation Association.
It's the association that owns it.
What's with it?
Quad Recreation and Athletic Association. It
what
says-
page is that on? Oh, okay, yeah, I see it now, yeah.
Yeah, I'm confused about that, I do remember that talking about it. It's a good.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, my signature is there.
Yeah, prior to that was when the other
So-
piece was Deb and I were on it.
It's saying here, in the event that the corporation should at any time wound up or dissolve voluntarily or otherwise, its assets shall be converted into money. And after payment of all of its debts and liabilities, any remaining funds shall be distributed to one or more incorporated or unincorporated organizations, then active in the community.
So the township would be the administrator to clean up the mess, is that what that says? If there
It was
was,
defined possible and consumption beneficial to the community. So these leads all over the water container.
the guy who would manage that, everyone was really.
It doesn't sound like it. Hey,
It just says that someone's gonna turn the
Yeah.
assets into cash.
so whether it's.
Somebody has to manage the estate,
Yeah.
it's like an estate,
Yeah.
someone has to be the administrator of the
Yeah.
estate. So who's the administrator?
I think from that up at that time, Robert Howe. Yes.
Might have to get a lawyer. Just might have to get a lawyer who's that, look after that maybe.
Well, it's already transferred.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, just the way it reads, though.
Okay.
Someone has to administer, you have to administer.
Yeah.
Be the administrator.
So why wasn't this paper presented to me like, oh,
Because plowing, I guess, wasn't an issue back then, that's why you guys were never aware of it, and nothing ever came up that.
Well, everything was just, it just kind of ran along the way it always did, it was plowed and
Yeah.
no one thought anything about it.
Yeah, and the association always had a plan.
if there was some, because they were stating there was some, but I never received any.
I have done a lot of research since all of this came about, and having our bylaws and minutes now accessible that we can search on the computer for them has helped me find this, so.
Maybe a lot easier to find, being later in the records. Yeah, now since they're electronically. Yeah, then digging through the vault and all the papers.
But yeah, your recreation association should have the records that show that you own the property. I mean, that's part of an association. If you own the property, that you would have those documents.
The way I'm reading what was done in there, right, is kind of confusing, right? Because the property originally comes from, Bruno Lindock Township.
Originally from the Renfrew County Board of Education.
Originally from the store.
Yeah,
Okay, then it came from Bruno Lindock,
yes,
okay?
yeah.
So then it was leased to whoever then, right?
No,
In 92,
yes, in 92, yes.
and then in 98, it was sold for $2, but it doesn't say to who.
To the Quadville Recreation and Athletic Association.
Yeah.
That's the
There's
way
not
it
an
is.
agreement signed by somebody.
Right there, there is with the bylaw. There's quite.
I know, I see that often,
Yeah.
but who was on?
Well, this,
Yeah,
yeah.
and never rescinded.
No, that was, no, this was,
Oh, that's a lease agreement.
when this was turned over, it was.
Glenn?
Yeah, Glenn and yourself, Iris, and
Yeah.
Bev, and.
Wayne was president at the time, but I don't think he signed it.
His name's not on it.
That's Christine Broder, isn't it? Let me see.
Yeah, that's who, that's who that is, okay, yeah.
Christine
Yeah,
Broder.
you don't have this copy?
Okay.
No, I don't.
Yeah, that's what I was just reading, that's the one, that's the one that was turned over in 98. And I do remember the conversation about, like Dad saying about the concern with amalgamation, it's something wherever that happened, that's why they're turning it over. I do remember that, I just never seen anything, it's not that I've got to.
No.
And you know, and nothing against Alvin, but I'm just, he was an active member also there, and we recall him saying, oh, how, as long as somebody doesn't say anything.
No, and people just continue, and then, like I said, I didn't know who was in last year, yeah, I never thought of it, Charlie was, I do remember seeing Charlie, but.
And Charlie was under Alvin at that time,
Yeah.
so he probably didn't.
Well, just make sure it's plotted, just keep it plotted.
say something for with those washrooms we had, they're public washrooms, they should be allowed. Is it not?
Well,
And the money comes from here to build them.
but the agreement that you signed when you got the funds that you would maintain the property. Yeah, and make it and have it accessible. That's part of the agreement that you signed with the township when you got the money for the washrooms.
I guess we didn't think we had to specify how we did them.
Yeah.
Well,
Like you-
It's only common sense, it has to be followed. You don't keep reducing, you gotta rock that up.
Pardon?
Counselor that he had brought that up in the meeting when I was here. And he said, well, guess we'll continue plowing, because we have to just keep public Washington. Until the 10-year program was up, well, it was 9 years then. So that should have been documented.
It should have been documented, but unless the majority of council agreed to it. And once
Yeah,
it
you
was
all
all
agreed.
but.
So
Well,
it
we
should
agree,
be-
but
I
sometimes
personally
you
don't
don't
recall.
realize you have an issue until the issue surfaces,
Yeah,
especially in regards to our insurance.
Then I
There
should
was
have
no
called that, right?
resolution passed to that.
Yeah.
Right, it's that-
I should have been modified, like, I don't like being kept in the dark.
You know, it's tough for me because I've sat on that rec committee for years, many years, and I totally get where you guys are coming from, because I can put myself there now and think, oh my God, we're not gonna plow anymore. I would be upset too. But now as a counselor, I have to look at the township's perspective of it also. And I don't know, it just makes it tough when you know everybody, right?
What's the insurance company say? There's probably, there's a hard and fast maybe on the policy that we have with them today, right, for those kind of situations or events.
I have to
I
think about
have
where
to
the
go back and read
insurance
that
is.
too. I think I can't remember if I read anything there.
The response from the insurance company was if the contract were changed and we put in place a mutual hold harmless and potentially some other safeguards, then we could provide the okay to move forward from an insurance perspective. Having said that, we would be taking on risk that the township likely does not want to take on. Further, we should abide by the current contract that is in place, which does not require us to maintain the lot for them.
So our insurance is just for township roads and township property. That's what we're covered for. Nothing outside of that. Which would make sense.
Yeah, because we would be considered private property, and we're not allowed to go on private property.
Well, without
Can we get a copy? I don't know if we have another copy of that. Would you like to, Virginia will make a copy of it, okay? So we don't lose it.
So in other words, guessing is just, you know, nothing to do with Wildwood Community Center. Just be straightforward.
Well, I wouldn't put it
I
that way.
wouldn't use
I
those
wouldn't
words.
say that.
I would like to come up with some way to maybe look at some kind of partnering where we could maybe use something to help offset costs or whatever. But the insurance doesn't cover it for sure.
What
You know,
if
to
we're
me-
a building waiver?
To me,
A building waiver, like you have one for when you do recreation, like when you're doing fitness, we have to sign a waiver saying we don't hold whoever's responsible or physically responsible. Would the insurance accept something like that from the rec committee or?
Yeah, I know what you're saying in
Yes.
regards to what people say. I think
Yeah.
that would be a question, but that was kind of answered in their reply, I think.
Yeah, they'd have to put safeguards in and
Yeah.
Well, there has to be T's and C's written into it for sure.
Yeah.
so, you know, excuse me, but, you know, I really do understand that. Because I never had that paper. That's the first time I ever read it.
Mhm.
So I do understand now when I was standing right beside Cheryl Grant. When she phoned up to this office. And Michelle said, well, what can I do for you, Cheryl? Well, I'm just pretending Wildwood Community Center to see because they applied for a grant and I just wanted information to see how you're involved with the community center. And you know, and it was on speakerphone. You know what the answer was? Well, we have nothing to do with the Wildwood Community Center. So I never understood that. Now I do.
Yeah.
So to me, this is just wasting my time and your time. Because I don't see any help coming from this township or this township.
So,
I'll take it to the next. And it'll exclude.
Well, Junior,
it's
we
not,
haven't made a decision.
This paperwork should have been presented to me back 11 years.
you know what, this is the first time I've seen, but I knew that it was private property in regards because you got the deed, but I.
It's not private, it's gonna go back to the township, okay? So it's technically you can't say it's private. It's gonna go back, it belongs to the taxpayer, it doesn't belong to me or you or anybody else.
That isn't
It's
what it
totally
said,
right
was it?
So, if I may,
Yes.
I don't recall, but was that 2 years ago they were at a meeting? I forget what that was concerning. And I thought we did make that offer that the township would take it over, no? Because, I thought we had spoke on that. Because there's some,
I'm not sure, but all
I think you were asked if you were willing to give up control of finances, because if
Yeah.
it gets turned over to the township, you have no control of finances. Okay. So maybe we should make them aware of what happens if it does get taken over by the township.
Well, I guess, first of all, you have to offer it to the township,
Yeah.
and then you kind of have to present back to them what will happen in regards to responsibilities as far as the municipality and then, right? Because we know, the Four Seasons Park, it would be kind of, I would think it would be run basically the same way. It would be township property, and then, of course, all the finances that are as
It's
administrative.
controlled by the town.
Is Four Seasons?
Yeah.
it's
controlled by the
Yeah.
town.
Yeah,
Well, I was gonna ask that question, okay, so that.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah, they run their own separate organization, and
Yeah.
everything comes through the township.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Makes sense.
yeah, it works well.
So that's an option as well.
Yes, exactly.
But I mean, their biggest fundraising is bingos. And when you're under the township, you can't have bingos.
No, that's.
Just to make you aware of that, that's why the rec committee here does not have bingos.
Yeah.
Since the Lions Club has left, they cannot have. bingo.
Yeah, you rent them all, but they apply to be a not-for-profit organization,
We'd have to switch to a non-for-profit, right?
and then just rent the facility and run the windows, they just do their work.
We are a non-for-profit corporation.
You already work incorporated?
Yes.
Then you're already one step in.
So that is, there
So
is
how
no,
does funding go, like, how does that?
And oddly, with everything on the table, we're very, it's a community, we're all, I don't have anything against any of these.
Well, that's the thing, I mean, it's not that we're. Sorry, yeah, we don't want to do that, we want to work with this and try to make something.
But you gotta see my part on it.
Oh, absolutely, I mean.
Yeah.
Like I put in a lot of money of my own money every year,
Mhm.
and so
Every volunteer,
we all get one.
And I'm sure that's the way it is with every,
But I.
Non-profit around.
You've been. And. To me, when your township doesn't back you. Doesn't help you or say a good word for you, or even try and advertise for your township, it's just getting really ridiculous. Why did we do it?
so your advertisements for your programs and everything is advertised on the township website or the Facebook page.
Once in a while.
One that Nikki sent us.
Yeah.
Once in a while.
And we see.
Can I
one
say
that
something
Nikki sent
about,
us.
when the washrooms were built there, we were told that we couldn't take the money to look after the guy building it and looking at, paying him so, as he did the job. So what happened? They were paid from here, the job not finished, he walked away. We spent over $4,000 some dollars finishing it, and our labor, and there was me and a whole pile of Junior, Lawrence, like a bunch of us finished that wall. And then it was put in the paper that we mismanaged the money,
the funds for that.
the funds.
I wasn't happy about that.
No, well,
That was put in the paper, and
yeah, that shouldn't have happened.
it happened.
I know
There was
I-
no apology. I brought that up one time here, and it just went over my head. And we were very upset over that because Marilyn looks after the finances quite
I
well
did
there.
the paper, and it's like I did it wrong and I didn't have nothing to do with it.
I brought it up to John Lightridge too, and I said, that is bull crap. So we were upset over that.
Okay, I think we're just starting to spin
Yeah,
wheels
starting.
now. So I think now what we need to do is the township will have to discuss what we think we can do. You guys can sit and think about what you would like to do. Would you like to transfer it back? Would you like to keep it the way it is and see how we can make it work?
Well,
I think you as
Ms. Mayor, what I don't understand is, why Why should I put my effort into something that's in vain?
Well, I think,
Okay, because
can I ask something in the future? When we need to discuss something with the rec center, can I please talk to you?
Yeah.
Or talk to Marilyn?
No.
Because otherwise, things are just way out of proportion. And I was literally told that if I wanted to talk, that the phone would be hung up. So there was no conversation. So that makes it really difficult to
But
be
you
able
don't
to.
understand, my wife has MS. And
I know.
it's not an-
I understand that.
It's a brain disease,
I know that.
and she don't think like we do.
I know. So then maybe let's discuss it with me and you or a council member or Marilyn, because nothing gets accomplished. It just makes the problem worse.
No, I have come to, I have come to reality because I read that. I wish I would have had that a long time ago.
Yeah.
That, and over the years now, I have seen what has happened, and now I understand why it's happened. So what I'm saying is that we have taken a building from point A when I stepped in to where it is now, which is functioning very well.
Mm-hmm.
We have sustained everything. We have what, 15,000 and some odd dollars in the bank. Our fuel bills are really high. But why are we doing that?
But I think it was
I
functioning
think-
before, because I think it was around $60,000.
No, when I started, there was $32,000. 38 stories, 38. And there was $8,000 worth of bills outstanding, so we paid that. And we have done about $140,000 worth of renovation. We have paid for that. And the thing of it is I don't understand why we're doing it now.
If I may, I think every nonprofit organization donates their time and their expertise and their value for the betterment of the
I know
community.
Now, most of the 99% of the community centers in a township, different if we're outside and in not anywhere, does not pay land taxes.
And maybe then that's the discussion about
Okay.
transferring back to the township.
And then there would be no land taxes.
Are there other benefits as well? Is it easier for the township to help with grants and things if it's transferred back? Like I'm trying to see if there's more benefits
Yeah.
for government programs and things, like to
And-
make it attractive to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I really see no point in effort of me ever staying in a local community center at present. I have no satisfaction anymore, no enjoyment anymore, because I cannot get the township to even say yes to Cheryl Glenn. Yeah, they do a good job. They hold events all the time, they just need grant.
And I don't think anybody is saying you people down there don't. I mean, I know what goes on there, and there's a lot of good things going on in that community, like from the small craft group on Wednesdays and
Yeah.
the Friday night bingos and the carnivals and whatever. But I think we need to look at where it's going to go in the future, and I think it has to be a joint effort between you and the township. And I think we've had a discussion here about trying to get a whole recreation committee for the municipality, where you have members from your committee, from the Lions Club, from the Fish and Game Club, whatever, that offers recreational or whatever to the members of our municipality. And, like that way you could be representative and involved in the whole of the township, which I think would be a benefit for you to be able to grow in the future too. So I think we're at a turning point where, some decisions will have to be made from both sides to make it grow in the future.
And there you go, there's another nonprofit for the Madawaska Valley Fish and Game Club that do not get loan. They do not get anything from the township, which we have never come to the township really for anything. And I'm just saying, it's a handful of volunteers. Sometimes we do have to pay somebody to plow because there's just way too much snow. But you just make it work.
Yes, Sarah.
The Four Seasons, I just have a question, like, so if they do fundraising, does the fundraising money then go to township or be held by township, or does the community hold it and? Okay, so how do they then come to you when they have an event and say, this is how much it's going to cost, or they come up to you afterwards and say, this is how much it costs? Okay.
So they come with a budget before the event, is that how it works?
Not sure.
Is it before or after the event?
Usually before.
It should be before, I think.
Yeah, they know from year to year usually what they need and what it's going to cost them, so.
And how much they fundraise or whatever.
Yeah.
So is there like a separate account then for the Four Seasons? No, just goes to the school, and then if they need.
In the general ledger. In the township's books, they have their own department that has their revenue and their expense, and then it nets it.
Okay, thank you.
And
So it all comes down to the bottom line, all the money trickles down to the bottom line. When we report it.
if there's any money left over, I believe it's put into reserve at the end of the year to be used in the following year. So say, for instance, the Quadville Recreation Association raised, I'm just pulling figures, okay, $50,000. Their expenses for the year were $40,000. The $10,000 wouldn't go into the township's coffers. It would be designated to a reserve for the Quadville Recreation Association that can be pulled forward in the next year.
Okay, so that it can be carried forward, right?
Yeah.
Flows on that.
Yeah, that's how it's handled.
Okay, so it is separate and can
Yeah.
be carried forward. Oh,
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That might be something to consider. It might be beneficial, I don't know. Something to consider for you guys.
I think as far as we'll have a serious meeting. Okay. So. Right now, we can decide what to do with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Without this contract.
Yeah, it's up to you guys. It's in the record.
Do we see a point?
We'll have to talk about that.
I was gonna say, I think
Right now,
Oh, no, we can't.
But I mean, if you have a board, your board decides.
That's what
You
you're
just want to- yeah.
I think you need to have that conversation on your own in your own meeting.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Take time.
And then if you have any questions, don't be afraid to come back to council with what we've said to you.
Yeah.
Let's keep the dialogue.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
I was looking for your time.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Wish you all the best in the new year. It's really mean that.
And I mean, have a meeting, and if you want to come back to our next meeting, just let us know the week before that you'd like to make a delegation.
I think we'd have the paperwork a long time.
Pardon?
I wish I would have had the paperwork a long time.
Yeah.
You know, and for myself, I've been part of the community and used that community center my whole life, and certainly not want to ever see that place closed.
No.
I think it's gonna lose it.
But I mean, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
People do use it, and there's gotta be a way for some type of partnership to make it work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Different icon that will be on.
Yeah. Well, let's hope not.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
And we'll return from you. Yeah.
Thanks again. Take care, everybody. Take care. Sorry? Oh.
And so we can discuss that further in.
I do still like the option of, if there was interest of bringing it back. But it used to be like same as, I was unaware, I was gonna ask that question about Four Seasons, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because I think it should be all kind of.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see it all brought back together.
I think so.
With the cost of everything now, it's pretty near impossible for a committee to be able to maintain a property and a building and all the expenses.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
You know, they've done well to keep themselves going.
Yeah, to keep it above water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
All right, no, it was a good conversation, I guess. I do remember things happening prior to amalgamation and that kind of stuff, and yeah, it just
Comes back.
yeah, I just couldn't remember. I forgot about the deed thing being transferred over, and it's been so long ago.
Over 20 years.
Yeah, a long time.
yeah.
All right.
Okay, the adoption of the minutes that we, the council of the township of Brunel and Falcon Raglan, hereby adopt the minutes of the regular council meeting of December 7th, 2022 is presented. Could I get a mover on that, please? Thank you. Iris, seconded by Councillor Quad. Is there any questions or comments on the minutes? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Those in favor? Yes.
Yes.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so we have the reports on the direction received. And the motion reads, the council of the corporation township of Brunel and Falcon Raglan support resolution 2022-448 from Prince Edward County regarding response to the More Homes Built Faster Act, Bill 23. Could I get a mover on that? Councillor Keller, seconded by Councillor Watt. Is there any discussion on that? I believe that was direction we gave to the staff at the last meeting. So I'll call for the vote, moved by Councillor May, seconded by Councillor Coppell.
And we already had it.
No, I had it. Okay, sorry.
We just need
Pay attention. I'll call for the vote. That's what I was supposed to.
There you go.
Those in support?
Yes.
Yes, those against? The resolution is carried. Okay, we have a resolution that the council of the township of Brunel and Falcon Raglan supports K Valley Township's resolution regarding OMAFRA Ontario Wildlife Damage Compensation Program Administrative Fee, and that this resolution be circulated to the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, Sylvia Jones, Solicitor General, Ontario, and all Ontario municipalities for the consideration and support. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Quad, seconded by Councillor Banks. Any discussion?
Not this time.
That was again direction from our last meeting.
Yeah.
So call for the vote. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, it's carried. And then we have the Sully Road report. And it requires a resolution. The council for the corporation of Brunel, Lindau and Raglan accept this report as presented and direct staff to arrange a meeting with the residents of Burns Trail. Gonna get a mover for that, please. Councillor Keller, seconded by Councillor Coppell. Discussion. The report is attached. Yes.
No, I like the report. It kind of gives a background and a history to the project, and I guess I look forward to presenting that to the residents of Burns Trail.
Yes. Anyone else have any comments? I think it's pretty well what we had discussed. And we had our lawyer look at it and he tweaked it a bit, so this was the end result.
Okay, so it was with that by legal.
Yes.
Yeah, it was on the way. That's good. I was gonna ask that question.
Yeah. Yes. And I believe we have, yeah, agreed to, speak with them next week, so.
We'll be speaking with the,
The concerned residents of Burns Trail.
no, but we'll be speaking with them.
And that'd be yourself and Councillor Keller.
I suppose we could have the full council if they wanted to.
We'd have to do it as a special meeting.
Oh, yes, then it might be a special meeting. That's fine.
So is that meeting here?
Yes,
You guys want to hear?
yeah. Okay. So any other comments on it or questions or,
Well, I'm sure this will answer a lot of questions that you have.
well, I think it pretty well explains the township's position.
Yeah.
On why the decision was made. And, I mean, every time there's water on that road, the integrity of the road is,
In Bush.
yes, to the point where it will be
And not just for them, but for emergency vehicles also.
ever, yeah. So can I call for the vote then? Those in favor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Those against? The motion is carried. Okay, so we have correspondence. The motion is that we, the council of the corporation of the township of Brudenell, Lindop, and Raglan hereby accept the correspondence as circulated. Could I get a motion? Okay, Councillor Crawford, seconded by Councillor Quad. Any discussion? Anything anyone would want pulled out of that?
Not for me.
I guess my only comment is it's amazing how most of the correspondence is in regards to more home build faster Act. Right?
Yes. Yes.
And I read most of them, but some of this stuff wouldn't even apply to a small town down the rabbit. You know, it's.
The only thing I had a question about was the township of Malahide. It said something about correspondence and there was no sort of correspondence attached to it because,
Nothing will open up.
well, there's a resolution. The resolution reads that the township of Malahide correspondence relating to the federal Cannabis Act review be circulated.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was curious to see what was in it, because the part that really had me questioning was, if they're issuing a license to grow cannabis in our municipality, I'm not aware that they circulate the municipality comments. And I thought that was very strange. So that's why I was wondering if there was correspondence attached to it. Okay, there wasn't, that's good. So everything's okay for correspondence then?
So, yeah.
Okay, I'll take the vote then. Those in favor? Yes.
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 Those against? Motion carried. New business, municipal insurance quote. The resolution reads the council, the corporation, township of Brudenell, Lindop, and Raglan, accept the municipal insurance quote as presented and authorize the clerk treasurer to sign the agreement. Can I get a motion, a mover on that motion? Councillor Keller, seconded by Councillor Quad. Discussion.
Just one question, curious about how much more would that be than the previous year?
That was my question.
I know a lot of municipalities that experience significant increases. Just wondering.
11%?
Yeah, it was 11%.
So in dollars, how many dollars is that?
97.
9,500.
More.
So year over year, is that a lot higher? The 2018 to
Lower
2019, is it lower?
lower than last year, but higher than most years.
Okay.
Has there been any changes to the policy, like anything increased or?
I agree with the email that came with it, if you would like.
Sure.
The renewal is at 11% from the expiring term, and the increase is driven by the following factors. Updated property insurance limits. After revising your property limits, your property insurance premiums have increased to reflect the increased limits. Liability insurance rates continue to face upward pressure. We saw our liability premiums increase by 10 to 50% with renewal term. EIL premium has been adjusted to align with the minimum requirements, and auto insurance rates face a 3% increase this term.
Standard stuff, same as home.
Yeah.
Any other questions or? No. Okay. We'll vote on it then. Those in favor?
Yes.
Those opposed? None? Okay, motion carried. 2023 summer jobs. The resolution reads that the council of the corporation of Brunel, Lyndoch and Raglan hereby approve the application for 2 positions for the 2023 summer experience program for the swim program, and 4 positions for the Canada summer jobs, 2 for the roads department and 2 for parks and recreation, and authorize the clerk treasurer to pay the overages that the grant does not cover for each position. Can I get a mover on that? Councillor Collett, seconded by Councillor Banks. And we have a staff report.
You lost your connection.
Now, I won't even load up. Oh.
Yeah, mine's not loading either.
Mine isn't even verbally tell you just the basics of it.
Yeah.
So we can apply for 2 different grants, summer experience program and the Canada summer jobs. So we're asking for 2 positions for the summer experience program to be the swim program if we get applicants, so a swim instructor and a swim assistant. And then 4 positions, 2 for the roads, 2 for the parks from the summer jobs program. The summer learning experience does cover 100% at minimum wage. Yeah, now the swim instructor does get paid $1 an hour more, so there would be a bit of an overage to cover on that. Summer jobs covers 50% of minimum wage in the province. And we are requesting that we increase it to 8 weeks instead of the 6 weeks minimum to fall in line better with a full summer experience for them. And to top up the hours to 40 hours a week versus the 35 typical. As it coincides with those departments.
Yes.
What they work with somebody, it makes sense to have the same hours.
What age group is allowed to apply for those jobs?
I think while you're a summer student or a student, you
Yeah,
can
you
apply.
have to be returning to some sort of schooling.
No, there's a minimum wage.
15 to 30, I think it is.
That goes up as long as they're returning to school.
Yeah.
No, I was more interested in what the minimum was. It was 15, right?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering with the swim program, if we wait to hire instructors, so we won't get instructors.
We can't wait yet, that's the problem.
So do we hire instructors and then we don't get the grant? Do we still offer it, like use the registrations to offset the cost of running the program?
I never ever remember not being successful for the swim program.
I think I remember.
Last year,
Yeah.
we didn't have any applicants.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the problem, we just don't have.
Yeah.
You always get the grant money, you just don't get the people.
Yeah, because we seem to be always maybe a little late than anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you wait till you get the grant money, it could be.
Yeah, you need to post that stuff in March, right?
Mhm.
Especially if you're talking about university college students.
Yeah.
They're looking for jobs then.
Yeah.
So you have
So
to
you're
post early.
suggesting posting it prior to.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the risk, right?
Yeah.
I think it's important to run the program.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do I.
If we haven't
I
had
think-
Because we always had kids,
Yeah.
you know, going to the swim program.
I may.
Yeah.
If that is the case, we could run a condensed program. In the past, we would run 2-3 week programs where we would use the 2 beaches on this side of the township. And then use the other 2 beaches on the other side of the township. Worst comes to worst, we could just use the central beaches and run a condensed program.
Yes,
True.
so it wouldn't be as expensive, you know, as if we had to do it.
If you shorten the window of employment, you're not gonna get candidates.
That's right.
Yeah,
Because they're just gonna go to the job.
Yeah, someplace else.
Yeah, you shorten that window.
Yeah.
you're not coming.
that's true.
You won't get an instructor, not gonna happen.
So then what's everybody's feeling on that? Do we?
Is it in the past when it was ran over 4 weeks or 6 weeks?
Yeah,
And I think that's the minimum, you're just not gonna get an employee.
Yeah, you're not gonna get someone to work only for 3 weeks.
No,
no,
you just won't. Summer students that need to pay tuitions, look for jobs that are gonna pay them some money to go back to school.
yeah,
And they can't afford to only work 3 weeks unless mom and dad's funding school for them.
Yeah.
And that's rarely the case these days.
Yeah. So then, what's everybody's feeling on that then?
well, I think we should advertise before we get the grant.
Probably around what?
Well, I'd say,
You need to start posting in March.
I would think so, early March, like,
I know,
the first of March,
I'm hiring students,
yeah.
I gotta be looking for them in March, or I'm not getting summer students.
And that's just for the swim program?
Yeah,
Yeah, because the other ones we haven't had any.
And I think,
Yeah.
I think the other, you'll get lots of local kids, right?
Yeah.
That- It's
Yeah.
hard to get licensed swim instructor.
Yeah, that's,
I mean, even the other townships are having a hard time getting them.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
And not just swim instructors.
That's what I mean, yeah.
All positions.
Yeah,
We only had 2 applicants last year.
Does everyone, like, is it widely advertised, and does everyone know there's opportunities for kids?
I
Is it-
think so.
Is it just on our website, do we do anything other than
I
that?
think
The program itself advertises as well.
Okay,
And we put it, in the paper.
Yeah.
okay, no, it's.
Yeah.
It's good, because I still think there's enough kids around, we should get local kids to apply for jobs.
Yeah.
I would hope, I know it seems really strange, but it seems to be a challenge to find people to work.
And
Oh, it is.
Which is
so
very bizarre, I really struggle with that.
Yeah,
I don't know what everyone's doing all of a sudden, where the money comes from, but.
well, federal government's handing that to everybody, so.
I
okay,
must be missing
so
something.
back to our summer job, so then we will continue with the swim one, regardless, we'll hire before we get.
Yeah, you should post and look for stuff in March.
Okay, so, and you're okay with the 4 for the parks?
Yeah.
Okay, so, we'll vote on that motion then? Okay, those opposed, none, motion carried. Okay, and council discussing on moving forward. There's a summary of all of the comments that we received. I think it would be nice to have a workshop to discuss where we want to be, where we're heading, what's the things that we need to look at.
I agree too, just to discuss what is there.
Yeah, because I don't think we can honestly do that like in.
No, it should be
10
separate,
minutes.
it should be a separate meeting.
Yes, and there's some other things that I would like to bring up,
Well, through the conversation, things may come up.
yes.
That's, when you have that dialogue, that's when
Yeah.
things really do come up and you can work your way through it, so I agree.
So would you like to do that in an evening meeting, or would you like to do it in an afternoon, or?
I'm open to whatever works best for everyone else.
Yeah, I can make it work.
So whatever works best for everyone's schedules, I'll fit mine in.
I don't much prefer an evening.
Yeah,
Okay, that's fine,
evening,
that's
Yeah.
fine. Okay, we'll pick an evening then, maybe, let's wait till after our counselor training and then we'll do, we'll
Okay,
do it, okay, we'll pick an evening then, okay. Sounds good. Okay. The Quadville Recreation Association found the parking lot.
Well, I think we kind of covered most of that off already, haven't we?
I think so
I
too.
think so.
We just have to come to, we need to, decide what we feel is best, and they need to decide what they feel is best. I'd be really open to, you know, bringing it back into the township if they're open to it. I think it's a good fit.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they can still run it themselves and everything else.
Yeah, just like the Four Seasons.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, good, I mean, they have the ball field there and.
And it's not like they're gonna lose, not like if they have a big profit at the end of the year, it's not like,
No.
it's not like the township's going to get it, it's gonna be carried forward
That,
for
the
them.
ball field isn't part of.
No, that's not Gladys property.
That's right,
Yeah, no, there's just, it's just a little area right there. though.
yeah.
And back in the day, there was a lease also with that.
Yeah, in the old days, we used to get a piece of paper
You know,
signed.
he leased it to us for $1.
Mhm.
But I think Wayne was actually on council back in the day when things.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Something had happened or transpired at council at that time, over this, and he wouldn't use that and, so we just, at the time, we just went ahead and used it, and we never ever did it involved with him.
No,
But as far as I know, there's been no lease on it since.
no, we would just have to look at that if we were to rank that, right?
Exactly.
To determine our risk around.
Then,
Yeah.
then it becomes a concern about.
Yeah, well, we decide whether if it has nothing to do with us, well.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think important first steps for to
Yeah.
go recommend their
Yeah.
meeting, and
Yeah,
like we said, I think they're more, they go away being more aware of.
yeah, I just want to make you guys aware of that,
Yeah. So,
that's not a lie.
but we'll definitely keep the dialogue open.
Yeah, no, I'll be honest, I'm not sure how much longer that may even be available to be used, right? And it's important, the ball field area,
Okay.
that could go away.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, but I mean, then we cross that bridge when we come to. Those are all things that would be out of our control, and there's nothing anyone can do about it.
Okay.
So. I think it would be appropriate then if they would have a meeting and come back to us at our February meeting to, so this thing doesn't get
No,
long drawn out, yeah.
I can take the action to speak to them if you like. And ask them to come back.
Yeah, tell them to have a meeting and ask them to come back and then we can deal with,
And if they have more questions,
Sure.
or if they present them, then we can have those answers.
Open that dialogue and.
yeah, it was a lot of information
Yeah,
tonight
it
and
was.
just to, you know.
It was good information,
Yeah.
and it was good, exchange of things that people were unaware of, which really helped.
Yeah.
Kind of put things in a better perspective for everyone.
Yeah.
Myself included.
Well, it just happened so quickly that,
Yeah.
you know, we were kind of put in a really bad position.
Well, no, it catches everyone a bit off guard, right?
Yeah.
And there was unknowns for everyone. All
Yeah.
parties had unknowns, and now that it's out in the open, it's more understandable for everyone.
Yeah.
No, I think we always need that time to let things rest,
Yeah.
think through it, have some dialogue, some conversation with their own board, have a conversation.
Yeah.
If they have questions, they can get them to us early, hopefully we can look at stuff, and yeah, maybe we could do something. I'd like to see it come back, honestly. I think it's advantageous for everyone.
Okay, so. Okay, so then you will take care of
Yeah, I'll talk,
talking to them
yeah,
about
I'm just
coming
gonna,
back.
I'm
to
gonna
our
have to in the way
thing.
that we can have a chat and see where what everyone's thinking.
Okay, sounds good.
And I'll get back to everyone. I'll shoot everybody an email.
Okay, sounds good. So we go to shoreline road allowance. The motion reads the council, the corporation, the township of Brunel, Lindop, and Raglan give tentative approval for the application of shoreline road allowance purchase to Mer.
Mayor.
Can I get a mover on that?
So that's closing a right of way or something?
And seconded by Councilor Banks. Okay.
To purchase the short.
No, it's just a purchase, yeah,
Property.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
it's not closing off any roads or.
No, but it's the.
Shorelines against
Yeah, it's the same
matter what.
right away. Yeah,
In front of his property.
yeah.
Yeah.
Questions regarding this? Where is that?
So
River Road.
Yeah,
It
somebody,
just says River Road.
tell me which oak tree that's by, so I know where it is. Tell me which oak tree that's by, so I know where that is.
Yeah.
So River Road, which side?
Okay.
Past Badamus, going towards Mervyn's, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Just so I have my bearings.
Yeah. It's hard to tell when it's.
sideways, eh?
Because that's not the old road that used to cut through there, the people used to go through like when we were kids, right?
Is it
Is
not?
that the road that's being
Which
closed
one?
now?
That's-
Well, there was always a road where
You
you
could
could
come right through
rip
that.
through there out by
Oh,
Godwin's.
I have
No,
no.
that's-
Oh, no, yeah, that's
Yeah.
further down, yeah.
Yeah, this would be right along the river.
This would be, I guess where you go in by, Wayne's old place, eh? Along through there? I think so.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, there's an old road that goes in around through there.
Yeah, I just remember
Yeah.
you could cut through it up by Godwin's, right?
Yeah.
And come through the back
Yeah.
and scoot through and come out. I just didn't know if that was actually built on this access or if that was just a road on private land, you used to just cut through.
If like I say, if it is where I think it is, it's where
Well,
we
sometimes
used to
you
have
have
a house,
certain
there's a road that goes down there.
Yeah,
And
haven't been-
one of those.
I haven't been through there since I was probably 18 years old, so it's been a while.
Okay, any questions or concerns about this?
No.
Okay, can I call for the vote then? Those in favor?
Yeah.
Motion carried. Did we not get a mover? Okay, so we need a mover before we vote then. Moved by Banks, seconded by Councilor Claude. And those in favor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Motion carried. Okay, so we have a resolution regarding our tractor. That the council of the corporation, the township of Newfoundland, and Raglan accept this report for information purposes only. Moved by Councilor Keller, seconded by Councilor Cogwell. And we have a staff report. Jordan, do you want to?
Is it?
It is.
It is.
That's still all with the insurance company, right?
Correct. Paper copy.
No,
Maybe we can check ours off.
Oh, it can't be that bad.
Well, I shouldn't.
The service isn't that bad here, is it?
Maybe the weather doesn't help.
Usually
Is it not landline here?
No.
Yeah, it's not satellite. You're not using satellite here, are you? DSL, yeah.
okay. Through the mayor and council, I received a phone call on December 21st from the insurance adjuster, so we still haven't heard directly from the insurance company yet. This is just from the adjuster. A lengthy conversation, it was over an hour with him on the phone. So he has looked into the vandalism claim on the tractor. The adjuster inspected the tractor at Delta Power in Brentford. And took several oil samples and pictures. In the end, all the oil samples came back clean, with the exception to the engine oil.
So hydraulics are good.
Hydraulics were good, yeah. And the fuel and everything was good.
That's good.
There was some
contaminants in the bottom of the tank, but he figured they were part of the lining of the fuel tank.
Yeah.
It was causing that, no issue that would have caused the tractor. The engine oil results show the dangerous amount of diesel fuel in the oil. However, the adjuster doesn't believe that vandalism caused this to happen. He believes that there's a mechanical malfunction that happened with the fuel pump on the tractor, which allowed fuel to bypass into the engine oil in the crankcase. Which in turn took the lubricating properties out of the engine oil, causing the engine basically to heat itself. So
it turned the crank bearings, right?
It did. So he believes that this is not vandalism. He's only going on suspicion that this is a malfunction with the fuel pump. I kind of disagree with him a little bit.
How does it get past the
that was my thing. How is that possible? And the operator checked the oil that morning, and you'd think if fuel was bypassing, it would have jacked the oil.
The fuel tank was drained.
And the fuel tank was drained. So did somebody go to the liberty of pulling the engine oil out of the engine and replacing it with diesel? No, I don't know. Well, he didn't go down an avenue.
No, I'm just surprised that they get from the fuel pump being an issue to get past the injectors.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I don't know.
Well, we leave it with them and
leave it with them, and that's. So his report will be going back to our insurance, and it's unclear whether insurance is going to help us fix this or not. If it comes back,
what's the warranty on the tractor?
They were 30 days.
Tail light.
I'm going to contact the dealership that we purchased the tractor from. If our insurance won't help us out, explain to them the situation and see if they would, you know, maybe cover a portion of the repairs.
So on commercial machinery or farm machinery, there's really virtually no warranty when you buy something
being used. No.
Oh, it was used.
Yeah, if it was new, we would have a dog sheet.
I'm sorry. Honestly, now I understand that the no warranty.
Yeah. Another thing I'm going to do if insurance will not cover it, I'm going to try and work with Delta to get the price down on the repairs. Being that the oil samples were taken already, and no issues with the hydraulic fluid, Delta wanted to do a full hydraulic overhaul, including the hydraulic pumping.
That's what I was.
Is
it's very expensive.
It's very expensive in itself. The adjuster seen on there, they were also replacing the clutch while it was apart. You said with that many hours on the tractor, and it wasn't causing an issue before, you don't need to do that.
How many hours do you have on your tractor?
Yeah, no,
okay, so it's not that much.
Yeah. Should be fine. So yeah, the clutch is virtually, it's fine. Yeah. Delta's argument was, well, we have a part. Yeah, it makes sense.
Understandably, so when you have a part, have a look at it.
Exactly. It tells if they don't have that part, you have to see if it needs to be right. That's something that we could potentially shave off. Another item the adjuster did mention was they want to replace the muffler. So the muffler is different than your average muffler. It's got the emissions.
With the catalyst,
yes. Delta's side was if you're putting a new motor in this, you should put a new muffler because the two of them kind of work together. I don't know the way the engine works, but it makes sense to replace the
catalytic converter. It may very well be the smart thing to do. I'm not sure the cost.
The end that calibrates itself to the current muffler. Yeah, well, the adjuster suggested that we'll just get it clean and put it back on. Use it a lot cheaper, or don't do it at all because it's got 2,500 hours on it. We make it 5,000.
Yeah, you can clean. There is a solution to clean for sure.
Yeah. So there's a few cost saving items that we can probably look at to help us.
If we were able to apply those, do you have the number? If we're yeah, no, just all those pieces.
Yeah, I have the full. Okay, I don't have that broke down for you tonight, but I can do it.
Yeah. Well, I was just kind of curious if we can shave all that stuff off.
Probably $15,000 or more better.
If the crank bearings turn, or the bearings turn on the crank. Then we're talking brand new engine for the most part.
Yeah, Delta said that they would not piece and part the engine back together and build it, that doesn't make sense, you better buy a whole new one.
Yeah, well, like I said, if they turn the bearings,
And one other item that the adjuster picked up on was the shop rate they were charging us was actually the road rate, which is another $5 or $10 an hour more.
should be lower.
And Delta is already willing to lower that. if needed. That'll help out too.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to, if we have to keep the cost of this, we might be able to lower the bill and hopefully.
It sounds like we're heading towards
I think we're heading towards that.
eating the cost. Does insurance will, insurance is going to help us with that, and
Because reports coming back that there's no.
Yeah.
No claim for vandalism.
so you know what? It beats thinking somebody did it to us if they really did.
Yeah.
So
It's better. Than
Yeah.
That's for sure.
it's really shitty to have that acceptable.
On the other hand, it's shitty that we
Yeah.
literally just got this thing and there it is.
Mhm.
We've got 16 hours on,
Yeah.
according to the hour meeting. Ran perfectly fine down here, it worked great for the time we use it, we just take it all, this seems expensive.
Yeah, yeah, it's a tough one, but what do you do if they say it's?
So that was
Okay, so, any other discussion on that? No. Can we vote on that motion to receive that information? Those in favor?
Yeah.
Motion carried. Okay, so now we move on to seasonal maintenance. The motion reads that council of the corporation of the township of Blue Hill, Lyndoch and Raglan direct staff to follow current seasonal road maintenance boundaries. Further, direct staff to include the roads as outlined in this report to the minimum maintenance standards bylaw. They're gonna move on that, please. I can move. Councillor Cahill, seconded by Councillor Keller. Okay. I have a report.
so.
They're probably getting a lot of calls.
Well, yes, and no.
Lots of noise.
So, like the Guadalupe Community Center, it kind of sparked something in me to start doing some research on our roads and our maintenance standards of our roads. Only to find a lot of things that need to be fixed, we'll say. And I'm hoping to address 99% of them. One of them is our seasonal roads. So currently the township has 3 seasonal roads, which being part of Moccasin Lake Road, a part of Hartford Ranch Road, and the entire Fire Tower Road. So a seasonal road is a road that's maintained in the summertime. And we have signs that are posted. And generally there's bylaws backed up this to help protect staff if somebody were to get injured or hurt on that road. I must maintain it. We don't have that. We're going to get to that. I actually have a PowerPoint presentation to show you guys here too. So we'll power through this report and then I'm going to pull up the presentation. We're going to punch through that and show you guys the actual pieces of roads and some more information. So we have 3 currently in place, and one of the 3 we've been getting constant year to year individuals wanting us to open the road for them so they can get to their cabin. We've been trying to pull away from that this year, but it's been tough. The individual keeps coming here and harassing staff to open the road pretty much once a week, sometimes twice a week, to the point that we open the road before Christmas just to get the road back.
Has the road always been open?
For the most part, yes, not as frequently as regular road maintenance.
Right.
So if we got a dump of snow, staff would open it up, and not the entirety of it, just a portion of the closed piece, to allow access to these residents to get to their cottages.
So which road is it?
That's Moccasin.
So historically, it's been,
maintained to
Yeah.
some level.
yeah,
To some level, however, the signage is placed back on ways, probably a couple kilometers.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually measured it, but it's close to a couple kilometers that we opened up. The issue with the road is it's not been maintained to the same level as the rest of the roads in the summertime. So there has been very little grading and hardly any gravel application. So the road itself is very narrow, it's very rough, it's hard on equipment.
what we found with.
We would occasionally plow with a pickup, and if it got too much of a pickup, we would send a tandem.
Go back out, your can turn around.
We have a turnaround established, but it's the rough part of the road that's hard on the truck, and it's tough. The operator was in there before Christmas. This night, I don't know how many stones I hit. Yeah, the GPS record showed it going at like 5 kilometers an hour. Oh, I think it takes forever to get through there, and it's not pretty. So what I'm saying is, if council will stand behind this, we would just say, no, we're not maintaining it any further. And if you wish to maintain it yourself, by all means. But we can't do this unless we do some work to the road. We're gonna wreck our equipment. Worse yet, we could have an accident there because the road's so narrow, the truck slides off over a bank.
How many kilometers of roads?
The whole thing, don't have that, actually I have that in my PowerPoint.
If you go from August and Lake Creek to, what's?
Right through, I believe it's 6.8 kilometers.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it'd be a good.
So we would be looking at roughly half of that.
To get to
the last person that has property or structure, we'll say.
Yeah.
how many structures on that facility?
There's a hunting camp. So, okay, sorry. There's 2 cottages, a hunting camp, 2 more cottages, and you go in a little further, there's 2 more cottages and 1 more cottage in further. No. You go, say 7.
There's a few places in there.
And there's more being built up every year. Actually, there's 2 more that just land on the end of Monson Lake.
So there's some to start thinking about what's gonna happen with the road.
I think my suggestion to council would be, if you are wanting to keep this road open, is we would move the no maintenance sign into a good location where there's a turnaround. And I would say with the boat launch, I don't know if anybody's familiar with.
Yeah.
Thomas and Lake.
Yep.
We passed the boat launch, which would be a good spot to turn around. I think, with a little bit of work and some gravel, we could make it workable. And then from there, if we wish, there's only 1 resident from there on that would pass the boat launch. So maybe if we reason with them, we would go so far, they would have to continue it on so far. I don't know.
Now, that one, cottage in there, I know, Evans used to own it, and the guy has a pole. Basically out of the road, almost out at the road itself. And he blocks it off, and actually he can't do that, because his line isn't. He doesn't own the property he owns is, just about an acre in there.
I'm unaware of that. And if we do widen the road, maybe that would be an issue that we'd have to discuss with the individual at that time.
Because, like I say, they always have a pole up there, and he doesn't own that property. That's,
Where's the township road and?
that township road ends up in, Little Ireland Road, actually.
It runs right through.
Yeah. You know, but I'm just talking about the one cottage there that goes down to Moccasin Lake. He's got a pole out by the road itself. But his property line doesn't start until you get in there almost to the cottage itself.
So that's not our issue.
No,
No, but I'm just saying, yeah, like, there's no way we're gonna plow something like that, is all I'm saying.
So that's it.
So we've been doing summer maintenance on it.
Yes.
And periodically doing winter maintenance.
Yes, sir.
It's not known how long the plowed right to the individuals where he takes over.
I can't tell you. I've just known it since I've been here that periodically they would open
Yeah.
up as the individual would come here and request that.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there any full-time people on the lake yet?
No,
But yeah,
it's all seasonal.
anyway, we can come back to that when it is in my presentation again. During that, we discovered a number of other roads, and staff have come forward with a number of other roads that they feel need to be included on this list. And the one here, Olive Lane, and actually in my report or my presentation, you'll see Olive Lane is actually a private road.
And
We
where's
were
that?
unaware of this until Olive Lane is off of Burnt Bridge Road.
Okay.
Olive Lane is a private road.
Not township road.
And
I was thinking that because when they did the civic addressing and they named roads, lanes or private roads.
trails and lanes are private roads.
So the one there that says Doris Lane, that's actually a private road?
Now, that's an exception. To the rule. It's municipally maintained, municipally owned road,
Okay.
but for the most part, the county tried to keep it.
Yeah.
That lane or trail or drive
Yeah.
are private roads.
Okay.
Anything that is road after it, but it's municipal or county. So that was the rule on that.
So how long is Olive Lane?
It's in my presentation. We'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll punch through this and I'll open this presentation. I'll give you visual experience of the road. Another one was part of Katona Road. 175 meters there. The road narrows, real steep hill. Bad embankment on each side. There's no permanent residence, no structures.
So why are we following?
Precisely. This is why I want to bring this to your attention.
Katona Road, isn't there?
Last year, we actually wrecked one of our trucks on this stretch of road. It was on ice, it came backwards, slid into a tree, and mangled the box on the ground.
Jordan, doesn't that Heath Snyder live down Katona Road?
Heath is the last permanent resident on
Yeah.
it.
What they did.
And that's where the plow turns around.
Yeah.
Presently.
Past that,
Yes,
right up to that gate,
past the gate. Where do you turn at the gate?
there's no.
So you have to go onto private land to turn. This is the issue. It needs to stop. There's also a section of Winkle Road, is roughly 40 meters. I wouldn't even say it's that long. Off of Winkle Road, and I'm sure people know where I'm talking about, into a gate. Where the plow truck has to go in.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And back out in the middle of Winkle Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And try and take off to finish his route. Why are we doing this?
I asked Michelle about that one time, and it had something to do
It's
with.
part of the township road allowance. But the gate beyond is private. So he's a private contractor, because they plow it, they drive over top of our snow.
66
Plow it right away. So basically, I'll show you, I have a map of it, I'll show you the map. We have 4.2 kilometers of Wasman Road. This is not new, that's been always like that, but there's no signage. I want to include that as part of this. There's no structure, actually I say there's no structure, there's 2 hunting camps back there. But no permanent residence. It's basically a forced access road. 1.9 kilometers of Wishman Road. Past that, there's 4 structures, no permanent residence. And the road is already listed through the county as a seasonally maintained road. However, there's no signage, and it's not included in the bylaw. So I'm trying to gather all these and put them together for you so we can get somewhere with it. We have another piece, 50 meters off Letterkenny Road, which is an old portion of an open road allowance. Basically, it's the beginning of somebody's driveway off Letterkenny Road. It's always been plowed. For some reason, we continue to plow it. Again, the plow drives in, has nowhere to turn, has to back out onto the roadway. You have a blind spot, you have a hill. It's a disaster waiting to happen. And that needs to come to a stop. With 75 meters off Rochford Road, same deal. Into a gate, no permanent residence. The plow has to drive in, back out, onto the road again, causing issues. We have 900 meters of Earth Road. Beyond that, there's 4 structures, no farm property. There's no permanent residence live there. There's no plow turnaround. And actually, there's a gate prohibiting any traffic to get to the property anyway. There's locked, so it's doesn't make sense. And I included 4.8 kilometers of Homestead Road. So the 4 properties, the structures, no permanent residents live on that road. However, it's a popular fishing area. So my proposal on that one, I'll show you on my presentation. We're only going to plow a small section of the road to allow people to get off the main highway. If they wish to go fishing, they can park their vehicle there and whatever. So no permanent residents, no turnarounds for trucks, for the roads, roads not adequately built to accommodate our plow trucks. The municipality would see a substantial cost savings if these roads were reduced to seasonally maintained roads. Aside from efficiencies, the safety of the staff is number 1. For each location that does not have a turnaround, staff will have to plow in, back out, and in some cases, turn around, back in, and plow out, which is a lot of wasted time. There are a lot of safety concerns for collisions where they have to back out on the road. 2 operators in particular that stated this.
Okay, Jordan, so what about fire tower on the road and?
So Fire Tower Road and Hardwick Ranch are already signed. And have been maintained.
Yeah, I do, it's just he had mentioned the other road, he didn't mention those 2.
Those 3 are already have signage, we'll say. I expected them to be part of a bylaw backing that up, but there's none. Which is why I want to get this in place. And then at the same time that these pieces of council agreements. That's that report. I'd like to give you some visuals. I have a presentation to show you with some more information. Discuss some of the road maintenance standards as well as we do. Okay. So what is a seasonally maintained road? So roads are maintained only during the summer seasons and used for vehicular traffic. Only after the frost is out in the spring when little snow is on the ground in the fall. These roads provide access to recreational properties such as camps and cottages. Does the municipality currently have seasonally maintained road? Yes, the 3 that are posted and I just discussed, there's the length of them actually. So Moxon Lake 6.8 kilometers, Fire Tower 2.8, and Hardwick Ranch is 2.1.
So with the, I don't want to slow you down, with the seasonal road, what are our dates?
So the dates would be, they're in here.
Okay, they're in here. No, that's good.
December 15th. But then they have it set for March or April. It's in there.
So we're kind of the end of November through the end of March.
Or from first major snowfall.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to figure out is
what the bylaw, and I apologize for sending it so late today. We had a 1-day breakaway, and if we would have had a council meeting last night, we wouldn't have it. I had all day to somewhat finalize it, and I'd like to get it passed with tonight, but the information and the closure dates are in that bylaw as well. Okay. So why are these roads posted as seasonally maintained? Because there's no permanent residents. The roads are not adequate to accommodate our plow trucks, and they're generally rated as a class 6 road in accordance with Ontario Regulation 23902. Can residents still use the road to access their property? Yes, absolutely, at their own risk. And should an individual wish to plow and maintain a seasonal road, permission must be granted by the municipality, and any liability would fall on the individual maintaining the road.
So is there a document, or we would create a document?
We would have to create a document for that.
For signage, check, okay.
So what regulates seasonally maintained roads? So generally there's a bylaw that is enacted to describe the level of service for municipal maintained roads. In our case, no such bylaw was able to be located. The bylaw would include a level of service policy, tables defining minimum standards, a list of roads showing their classifications, surface types and lengths, as well as if they're seasonal or annually maintained road. And staff will prepare a bylaw for council's consideration, which you would have already received. Is the municipality not required to maintain seasonal roads? The municipality has no obligation to perform winter maintenance on Class 6 roads and has minimal requirements for summertime maintenance. So minimal gravel application, minimal grading, and minimal pothole repair. So how are roads classified? Classification is given to roads based on average daily traffic and speed limit applicable to such road. For our population and area and type of road, the classification for at least 99% of our roads would be a 5 or a 6. While the only one that may see a higher classification would be Letterkenny. And I would have to do some calculations on this to see if it would classify as a Class 4. With the majority of our roads as Class 6, staff, so I've already instructed staff to maintain them as Class 5 if there's a permanent residence using that roadway. So a number of our roads are Class 6, but we are maintaining the one standard higher to a Class 5. So this breaks down the classes and what the standards for winter services. So for Class 4, snow removal will happen after 8 centimeters and completed within 16 hours of the end of the snowfall. Treatment of ice would have to take place 12 hours after becoming aware of the ice formation. And road patrol is at the discretion of the municipality, or at minimum every 14 days. Class 5, you have snow removal after 10 centimeters. And you can have up to 24 hours to get this completed after the snow event has ended. Treatment of ice is 16 hours for this case. And road patrol is only every 30 days, or as the municipality sees fit. And again, Class 6, there's no service required. So why designate seasonal roads? So efficiencies. Why are we plowing roads that are not being used? That don't have permanent residence? Less roads to plow equals less wear and tear on our vehicles, less fuel consumption, and less man hours. And for the biggest part is safety. Most of the proposed roads have been identified to have safety concerns or are not built to accommodate the large plow truck, or simply do not have a turnaround area. Roads requiring seasonal designation. As stated in the report to council this evening, a number of roads need to be considered as being seasonal and become part of the proposed bylaw as scheduled. The following slide will give an explanation for each. So as we discussed, Olive Lane has been discovered to be a private road and will no longer be plowed or standard. We have not touched it this year. This is Katona Road. There's our truck last year that went over the bank. That's after they spun it around and cut the trees out of the way. It destroyed the truck. So as you see, the yellow line is the stretch of road that we would designate as seasonal. The last residence and the plow turnaround are right at the beginning of the yellow. So as you can see, there's a couple of farm fields and some bush lots up there. It's all up there. This is the 40-meter stretch off Wingle Road. So you'll see how the road allowance falls through here, but there's a jaunt off between two separate pieces of property. So you'll see this little strip is a separate piece, and the one above it is a separate piece. And then you have a big block back here with the access coming out to the road. Currently, we plow off Wingle Road in as far as the red line where the gate is.
Yeah. And like I was going to say before, I asked Michelle about that. And the reason it was done is because they moved the road over. And Herbie Littke, I guess this is what I was told, he complained about that. He said, if you move that over, he says, I'm going to have to plow that, which I shouldn't have to because you're taking my right of way. So anyways, it was, because like I said, I asked Michelle about it. So that's why they plowed that little piece.
Yeah, it's.
Well, I'm just telling you what I was told. Because they moved that road.
I've instructed staff not to plow it this year, and I have received a phone call on it. The individual I talked to was the owner's son, who's taken over the property, as far as I'm aware. He he said there was an agreement between them and the township to allow that. We have not found anything on file. I asked him to produce the agreement and he has yet to produce it, so.
Yeah, the way Michelle was just.
I don't know exactly the verbal, and I don't understand. This is the biggest safety concern right
Oh,
here.
yeah, because I
You're on
remember, yeah.
a very steep incline of the hill as it is, pulling in while their driveway to back out. You know, cars trying to get a run at that hill and cars coming down and may not even get stopped. There was a near miss here last year where a car barely got by the plow truck.
Because I actually
This needs to stop.
I brought that up to Michelle about when I was on council,
Yeah,
about that plow truck back and all like that.
it's a verbal agreement. Yeah, they don't stand.
I mean, the only reason the road got moved was to fix the wall, the corner.
Exactly.
It wasn't good.
We're not prohibiting them from accessing.
No, I don't think, it was to better, the betterment of the road and more safety, but that was moved over a bit. I mean, it doesn't really make any
But
sense.
that was the only reason.
My driveway comes off county road, which is 66 feet. I still have to plow at the end where the county leaves the snow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean,
That isn't my property.
no, that's kind of.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
This is Wasman Road, so at the very top of there where the yellow line begins, there is one resident lives there, and currently the plows and turns in their yard. But the rest of this stretch is all forced access road. With 2 hunting camps back in a little further.
And it's gated on the thing.
I believe it is, yes. But from time to time, we get requests to have this opened up for logging operations.
Well, that's the logging guy's problem. It isn't ours.
Last season, last winter, we plowed in a good portion of it. It's not right.
But I mean, the council would discuss that, right?
That was never brought.
No,
Never brought to council. I don't even know where it was been living.
It's at the end of the big hill on Oscar Bain Road.
yeah,
That goes back into Sheila's space and all that. Isn't it?
Oscar Bain swings to the right and goes to the Shields. This goes to the
Oh,
left.
that goes.
Sharon,
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely wouldn't make sense to be.
This is Wishman Road, and I didn't put a yellow line on here, but it is hard to see that there already is, the county has this designated as a seasonally maintained road already. However, there's no signage posted. The property owner at the back has a contractor that already plows the road. From time to time, they would get us to wing the banks back. So,
Is that gonna stop that?
I think it should.
Well, if we're gonna post it,
Oh, yeah.
Within 50 meters off Letterkenny Road. So this is a similar situation to the Wingle one. Whereas the individual's driveway, you can see it coming out right there. The red squiggle is the old road allowance. So you see Letterkenny Road was moved over. This is the road allowance.
That's the top of the sharp hill above the lake.
Yeah.
That's the corner,
So you have a
that's
big
sharp.
hill and a corner. And then there's a bit of a pitch right there too. So the plow would plow in and then back out on Letterkenny Road continues right. There were a number of near misses here over the years.
And you know what happens if you get hit backing out on.
Yeah, you're charged.
This needs to stop. Again, another similar situation. This is off Rochford Road. This is also known as Sheridan Road. We plow that. We plow that. So again, plow would drive in, nowhere to turn, back out on the road, and then continue their run. Sometimes if the snow got deep enough, he actually has to turn around and back in to push it both ways.
is there anybody in there?
No,
Then why didn't we follow it at all?
good. Glad you're on my side.
Oh, I mean, that's stupid.
The only thing I was thinking is if there's somebody there, we're just gonna have to let them know that we're gonna change our plans, but if there's no one there.
I think
It's
we should be like.
it's a new body.
We'll definitely be sending letters, I would say.
Yeah, we're gonna have to make some changes,
Yeah,
yeah.
such date
Yeah.
due to this reasoning.
That just gives people time to plan, right? That's all.
Because that insurance just doesn't cover.
Well, not just insurance, it's safety of our workers and the added cost to the other ratepayers for us plowing people's driveways, basically.
Yeah.
Again, here's York Road, sort of 900 meters on that.
Where's that?
Turns, so we're under Mercy. It's
Yeah, okay, I know, yeah,
broken bone.
we're all listening to, yeah.
So where the line takes a 90-degree turn there, that's where the gate is. And we cannot get in any further in. So, and the yellow portion that's straight on the right of way is pretty rough to be. That's that one. And Homestead Road.
That's one that follows the river, isn't it?
That follows the river. You've got 4 properties with structures. One is a farm, the other 3 are cottages. Nobody comes up here in winter time. You know, permanent residents. If they do come in winter time, they go swimming, I think, at the farm, maybe. In fact, they may even be happy that the road isn't passable, so they don't care for vehicles being in their yard anyway. There is a popular fishing site back here, which would see some recreation traffic. So that's why I'm proposing they leave, there's a pavement strip at the first part of the road, we would plow that, there's a turnaround there, it's sure good. We can turn around and come back over from there. So that is, yeah, I have a message that we can all use for our residents. When it is time that we do get complaints. Public works staff work diligently to maintain roadways for all residents. Staff are maintaining roadways at or above minimum standards as defined in Ontario Regulation 239.02. Please be patient during weather events, as sometimes service can take longer. And a little food for thought. How do the plow drivers get to work?
Very careful.
So that is my presentation. That's a good question.
I have some thoughts. I'm not disagreeing with it. It's just, I would kind of like to get a legal opinion on how we should approach with this, because we do not want to get into another.
No, we have to, because of the historical.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Things that we've been doing, right?
And I think we have an opportunity for that.
Yeah, no,
In a training session.
There's no massive rush on this. I would still like if council would pass the standards bylaw tonight. Schedule C will be these roads that we just discussed. And I'm not including Schedule C until we're all comfortable with it and everything's cool. But we can pass the bylaw as it stands and include the schedule after the minute. I wanted to bring this to your attention tonight to get you kind of everybody on the same page and what's going on. And
I'm not disagreeing with it at all. It's just, I think we should have some.
We need a little bit of time.
yeah, no, it's totally fine. Then like get the ball rolling and go from there.
No, at the same time, I mean, kudos for you for finding these roads.
Yeah.
Finding the issues that we face and trying to resolve the issues.
Exactly. I'm just trying to streamline our services and hopefully saving the rest of the taxpayers some dollars and making work life a little more safe for our employees.
Yeah, that backing out onto the road.
Yes, no, but that one road that goes no place and nobody lives on, I think we can stop plowing that right away, no? Like, who are you going to inform?
Some of these I have already instructed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I've been waiting. If anybody had an issue, they would call.
Yeah.
And we would deal with that.
Okay.
So until we have firm documents stating this is what it is, we'll continue to do that.
Okay.
So just Jordan, just because we're talking about plowing, question for you, like for leased property, the township owns, like the chip truck. So you guys can't follow that?
That's township property, so yeah, we can plow it off.
What's
Is
that?
there a need, like, I don't know where,
Well,
is there a need to plow it off or whatever?
They used to plow just right across from wood fires,
Oh, okay,
which it was just handy having it plowed out.
just for extra parking and stuff,
Extra
yeah,
parking. And they used to actually plow the snow up into
okay,
between the trailer and Carmen's there.
okay.
That's where they went with a lot of the higher snowbanks up in there. I just didn't know why
Yeah, no,
they haven't been
and
doing
again,
that.
I'm open, lots of different doors and windows, and finding different things out.
And that's
so
probably it. You just weren't aware of it.
I'm surprised the guy down there that usually would have done that, didn't you? Or at least said something. I'll talk to them too.
Okay.
Well, to plow the winter hours, it's probably, you gotta come around the corner, plow the.
You gotta plow the
the
corner
county
and back
road.
up and then take
You
it
gotta plow
up.
the county road and then drive up into the, so
Yeah.
that's the reason they're probably not going.
Well, even county once in a while, will take us and push it up there, but because you guys haven't, they have.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll explore it.
So I'm not offended by it if you don't want us to, you know, if you leave it over towards the county road.
You don't want it on your lawn?
Water doesn't go on down in towards my house, yeah. Look, it's, I'm not opposed to having it there, just keep it
No, well,
up higher.
it is township property and it is handy for people to park and.
No, that's along with the.
I don't think there's a need to maybe push it that far, like even if there was like a pass to keep it back enough for people. I'll discuss it with the guy and see if the company can find out.
Okay, so the resolution says that these roads be included. That was in the report. So,
You wish to amend that and say, and we'll.
well, I think we have to do with the resolution that's on the table first.
Yeah, you can do a friendly amendment,
Yeah,
as long as it's fine,
okay.
friendly amendment.
When you're talking about roads, like apartments there, they go right around the lake, and there's no other pass that. They go all the way around to the.
Yeah,
first
that was like
house.
my preference.
You can stop it, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can stop it.
well,
Probably could.
Yes. On the process for,
or I'm just saying even the first.
Is there a
or
turnaround?
reclassifying.
That one wasn't brought up. I talked to the operators on a lot of these and so you guys have any spots that are.
Right now, there's a resident on Curtis Lake
Oh, the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, down the, up along
on
the
the
side.
trailer,
Yeah, okay.
but otherwise, they're going all the way around that lake and all the way into the wood shack, that's what we're turning.
So you could turn and where the driveways are.
Yeah,
At the bottom of the hill, just.
Yeah.
turn and Stop there.
that's just I'm just in an option, because there is nobody beyond that.
So would those roads still receive limited summer maintenance, or would it just be the winter?
Just winter.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
reclassification.
Designated as a
And
season.
then we have to post those roads that aren't posted, right?
It would be posted, yes. We like I said, we're pre-posted right now, but nothing to back it up.
What's signage cost? What's the cost per sign?
Probably for that size of sign, it'd be $75 a sign plus post.
So by the time you get the post stuck in the ground, $500.
And
I would say that much.
additional ones that.
That was labor, that's labor. You know, it costs to cost, everything, our guys were paying them, right? Exactly. Kind of ordered all, yeah, it goes 300.
Was thinking it might be worse. I didn't know what those are nice, like, the
Yeah.
signs are,
Well, then you have 60, or 60, so we're not that crazy the price.
yeah.
That's supposed to.
Yeah, yeah, pressure treated posts,
You
steel post.
Building back? Okay, so. Are you councillors in agreement with the amended resolution?
I think so.
Iris?
Direct staff to follow current seasonal road maintenance boundaries. Further direct staff to seek legal advice on community.
Yeah, because we had the 3 that were seasonal, and the other ones that we did legal advice on.
And then anybody else that slightly impacted, we're just gonna inform them and give them enough time to find other
Yeah, we'll have to
means of
discuss
life.
on what the process will be for
Yeah,
that.
we've got to come up with something for that.
So the seasonal road, fire tower, and we didn't touch on fire tower, Hartwick Ranch, like there's nobody in there. So what about Hartwick Ranch Club?
It's
There's
seasonal now.
just a portion of the Hartford branch that we're not. So up to where, Delmer, just built, that's where the plot ends. That's where they stop, turn, there's already a sign there.
I'm gonna drive and check this.
If you would go in the summertime and I would drive down past where the seasonal maintained road sign is, you'll understand why it's.
Yeah. So
Oh, you go way back where it's all there.
Yeah, it's thrown in like, you know, when it happens in the summer, and Rush was probably not,
Okay, so you agree with that amended resolution?
Yes. As long as there's no permanent, no permanent.
Well, there's only the 3 that currently are seasonal, that are still going to be seasonal. The new
that
ones
don't
are-
have permanent residence on them.
Yeah, and the other ones that he identified, we will be getting more.
So I would bring to the table and propose that are seasonally maintained, if there was a permanent resident being affected.
Yeah.
So where we turning around on Fire Tower Road?
No. We don't touch.
We don't go in there.
So it's all privately.
No, it's nothing in there in the winter.
I think there's one cottage in there, or there's only something.
There's a cottage and O'Grady's use it for access to their farm.
Yeah, years ago, Alvin used to plow in their RV. Used to live in there. You could contact
The
Alvin.
people that own Harvey Harris's place, they're in the full time, I think.
Yeah, but that's not fire tower.
So that's kind of where we're turning around, where we're plowing in.
Half of them.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they won't be there. Yeah,
Past the Volskis.
yeah, okay.
Okay, so the amended resolution raises that the council for the corporation of the township of Brunel, Lindau, and Raglan direct staff to follow current seasonal road maintenance boundaries. Further direct staff to seek legal advice on the additional roads identified to reclassify these roads to seasonally maintained.
So until we receive guidance,
Yeah.
we're not gonna change anything, right?
No.
Schedule C for the maintenance bylaw will be on hold until we get legal advice and everybody's notified. And after.
No, sounds good. I'm good with that.
Okay, so then no more discussion, any more discussion? Okay, so can we vote on the motion and those in favor?
Yeah.
Okay. The motion is carried. Road maintenance standards. That the council of the corporation of the township of Brunel, Lindau, and Raglan direct staff and draft the law to establish a level of service policy for all municipal roads. Could I get a move around that? Councilor Banks, seconded by Councilor Quad. Okay.
So, through the mayor, I have a brief employee report on this. That ties together the last report, the presentation and bylaw that you received today. So staff are currently referring to a bylaw in the former township of Raglan, which is 9704, which is it's named as minimal and desirable roadway service standards. However, the bylaw
document was drafted for the former township of Raglan, does not cover Brudenell and Lindau. The bylaw has no clear direction or definitions and only references following minimum standards, but it doesn't specify what minimum standards. We reached out to a few of our neighboring municipalities to see what they are following for guidelines, and all of them refer back to the Ontario Regulation 239.02. So staff have reviewed the regulation and have adapted some of our services to be sure that the minimum standard for road maintenance is being followed. And going forward, it is recommended that council direct staff to draft a bylaw that encompasses the regulation as described, as well as define and set a level of service for seasonal roadways in the municipality. So it just kind of ties everything together. You'll see this in the bylaw. And if we want, we can open. Do we have a copy of the bylaw on here? So we can have a quick look at the bylaw and do that right now. You all right with that?
We can. I don't think anyone has had a chance
To review it anyway, so we'll pull it up and the first page is the main information for council. So to be a bylaw to establish a level of service policy for township roads, for the township of Brudenell and Dock and Raglan. You have your legal portions in here, refer to the Municipal Act as usual in most bylaws. You have a section here that refers to the Ontario Regulation 239.02 as being the backbone to the regulations used in this bylaw. And it also gives so again, you're gonna have 3 schedules attached to this. So basically it's a 1-page bylaw and then 3 schedules attached to it. Also gives myself authorization from council to update, make corrections and or amendments to any of the schedules as changes may arise, different classifications for roads. To do that, I would have to provide all of the amended copies to the clerk treasurer to be attached to the bylaw, and then provide council with the updates as well for their information. If any major decisions were to be made, obviously they would have to be brought to the table before any major amendments were taken care of. And then the portion here that rescinds any old outstanding bylaws, policies, schedules, or actions council has taken in the past, and abolishes it and ties everything into this bylaw. The Schedule A of the bylaw is your level of service policy. Gives you the policy, gives you some definitions. And then it breaks down the classifications, how do you get classifications for your roadways. So you see there's a number of tables in here. Gives you routine patrolling, weather monitoring, winter maintenance. Talks about snow accumulation. Again, gives you a table showing your classification of roadways and the information on there to present these. Again, for icy roadways and how to treat them. Potholes and multiple different kinds of surfaces. Shoulder drop-offs, cracks in the roads, debris on the roadways, bunch of street lights, signage. Talks about inspecting signs and testing signs. Any signs that are missing or illegible need to be taken care of. That's laid on the table. Surface discontinuities, shows that, and the sizing. And then there are standards laid out that are not defined in OREG 239.02. So we have danger trees, flooding, dust, and reduced load limits. something that, we didn't have a proper bylaw for, is we could use low limits, so we tied it all in with the. Past this, you'll get Schedule B and C. Schedule B is going to be a full list of all your roads, their lengths, their surface types, and their classification. And then again, Schedule C is your seasonal roads, which those two schedules can be added in after. That's that. Okay, that is it for my report. Madam Mayor, thank you.
Ready to step around that?
Sewer talks about snow removal, I don't see what talks about sanding, but
So that will fall in with the ice. If the snowpack becomes ice or slippery, that the sanding would have to take place there. Generally, as cruiser, 90% of the time they're putting sand down after plowing anyway. Just for their own benefit for traction and weather pushing snow. And while we're out there, it doesn't make sense running around again later putting sand in it. So as a preventive maintenance, they put the sand down ahead of time before it turns to ice.
well, you have to carry sand anyways to plow. Can't plow.
You're not plow off the truck. No, you're not going anywhere. Again, the whole thing kind of ties together with weather monitoring and forecasts and kind of predicting what's going to happen and how you're going to plan your operations for the day.
I can't believe we didn't have it. I did this in 2000 for Glacier Valley when they amalgamated and did all their policies. I did this spot off for them.
And that one was the year, what, 2000?
Yeah.
It took me all day to
Yeah,
piece this thing together.
it's a big job to do the roads. You know, like.
It is, and to have a set guideline to follow so that it's even across the board.
Yeah.
I think where we're getting our complaints from is now we're more evenly maintaining our roads, so everybody does the same service. In the past, some roads would get special treatment. And those roads aren't seeing that special treatment anymore, that are way above and beyond the standard. And I think that's where people are kind of like, what's going on? And then you get county roads, which are different classifications again, and get different treatment again.
Oh yeah, it's easy to see where the county stops putting salt down, not coming home.
Exactly.
You make it over the mountain at Point Mountain, it stops before you get to 550 and second you went to a new planet.
Yeah, and then they'll go to Ottawa and turn around.
So have we been light on sand? So that's a lot of the complaints I heard.
Really, I think the issue that we're seeing there is we have a different truck in the fleet. And the sanding equipment is a little bit different, and the operator is not quite grasped the setup of it yet.
It's all computerized?
It's all computerized now. So to get it set properly and maintain it, he's having a bit of a tough time. So we'll continue to work with him, hopefully get it fine tuned and we'll see a better spread rate of sand.
Yeah, because that's just been some of the complaints I got. It's just
Me as well.
very light on this.
Yeah.
And they don't put down some.
Yeah, and we're seeing that his spread volume is not what it should be. So we are continuing to work on that.
Okay.
We are putting sand down, sand's on the.
Yeah.
Again, where you're gonna see the differences between county roads and municipal roads. Your desired outcome on your road is either snowpack or bare. To be able to make them bare, obviously you need salt. Can we afford to run salt? Absolutely not. We can if we want the Jackson.
You don't want the salt on the gravel.
And you can't put salt on a gravel road. Yeah. So your desirable surface on a gravel road is snowpack. So does snowpack turn slippery and icy at times? Yes, it does. How do we treat that? With sand. Yeah.
I guess we have a motion on the table here to direct staff for a draft bylaw for the level of services. We have a mover and a seconder on that. Do it, yeah. So, are we ready to vote on that? Then the bylaw will be a separate issue later. So is everyone in favor of that, motion?
Well, by the sound of it, it's something we should have in place longer.
Yeah. No, it's a good section right there.
No, all those in favor?
Sorry.
In favor of, directing staff for the bylaw?
Yeah.
Motion is carried.
Oh, okay.
If you don't mind, Madam Mayor, if council reviews the bylaw after, if you pass it tonight. And you review it and you see anything that stands out, you can always amend it. But we need something as our backbone to protect us.
Yeah.
Well, you need guidance, exactly. You need to have something to measure against. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so we're at the borrowing bylaw. Oh, sorry. Hiding in there. Okay, the resolution reads that council for the corporation of the township of Brunel and Dr. Ragland call a special meeting on January 13th for the purpose of council training. Gonna get a mover and a seconder on that. Move by Councilor Campbell, seconded by Councilor Banks. Any discussion?
What time is this going to be?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, okay.
And
Next March,
yeah. It'll go on till in the afternoon, so.
Okay. So it starts at 10.
Yeah.
That's next slide, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And lunch is what? Lunch will be provided. Okay, so, any more discussion on that motion?
No.
Call for the vote then, all those in favor?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Okay, now we're to the borrowing bylaw. Kevin, this is a standard bylaw that I think every municipality passes at the beginning of the year. It's authorized under the municipal act that you can borrow a certain percentage of what your projected revenues are for the year.
What is the percentage, sorry? Does it tell us what the percentage is that we're allowed?
You know what that does? That the section in the municipal act tells you that.
Okay. That's how we kind of standard knowledge. Experience to us.
Yeah. So you read it? Yeah, I read it. Resolution says that we, the council of the corporation of the township of Brunel and Dr. Ragland, hereby authorizes bylaw 2023-01, being a bylaw to confirm the borrowing of $400,000 to meet until the taxes are collected, the current expenditures of the corporation for the year. Can I get a movement on Councilor Feller, seconded by Councilor Banks? Any discussion?
So this is like on a line of credit that we're borrowing money in?
Yes, it's as needed. Yeah. Yeah. If you need it, you borrow, you know.
And if I may, to my knowledge, this has been a standard number as long as I've been here, and I don't ever remember us having to use it. So.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect good sense. In advance of reflecting your impact.
Exactly. If you actually need it.
Because you know the projected revenue, I mean, that's pretty, it's based on the tax base, right? So
That's right.
You know what's coming and when it's coming.
Okay, so, can we vote on the motion then? All those in favor?
Yes.
Yep.
Motion is carried. Bylaw 23-02. The motion reads that we, the council of the corporation of the township of Brunel and Dr. Ragland, hereby adopts bylaw 2023-02, being a bylaw to provide for interim tax levy for the year 2023 for the township of Brunel and Dr. Ragland. Can I get a mover on that, please? Councillor Quad, seconded by Councillor Crockout. Any discussion? Interim tax levies, Kevin, are 50% of last year's, well, there is no levy. It's just calculated at whatever your tax bill was last year, it's 50%. So people get their tax bill and say, oh, my taxes went up. Well, no, they haven't, because we haven't set a levy yet.
Right.
Any discussion? Can I call for the vote then? Those in favor? Motion is carried. Item 23-03. The motion reads that we, the council for the corporation of the township of Brunel, Lindbach and Ragland hereby adopts bylaw 2023-03, being the bylaw with respect to the establishment of corporate policies and procedures for the corporation of the township of Brunel and Dr. Ragland. Can I get a mover on that, please? Councillor Cockrell, seconded by Councillor Keller. This is the revised copy that with the changes made from the last meeting. Does anybody have any questions or concerns or comments?
So what were the changes? Do I need to refresh?
That portion of the hiring process.
Yes. That be done with the selection panel.
Yeah. On the higher end.
Yeah.
So I just noticed when I went through, if you go to page 25, just on my paper copy, that I got to the copy that we just recently got. I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but just on section
Page 25.
Page 25, and it's on using time off and move. So overtime approval process, so people down where it says bank to move time may be accumulated up to maximum of 40 hours at any one time.
Yeah.
So on this form here on the computer, that's where it ends. On the paper form, it actually carries on to bank to move time must be taken within 3 months after it was earned.
Okay, so the copy that you had before did say it had to be taken within 3 months, but that's not status quo, is what's happening right now.
Okay.
So we just wanted it as status quo, so I changed it back to not within the 3 months.
Okay. I just, when I went through it, that was the only thing I noticed that was different from it.
So not to exceed 40 hours, right?
Right?
And not to exceed 40 hours.
Yes.
The one copy before said that once they're up, they had to use a bank time within a 3 month range. But there's not.
But what is the limit to this banking of time? 40 hours, right? Okay. And who manages and keeps track of that, because it's a liability on the books? You do. Yeah.
But I mean, at first, I did take the time and go through it all, and that was one of the
So there's no special cases outside of the 40 hours? No, okay.
Anything if it's about, if somebody already has $40 banked, if they've got extra hours, then it's just paid as thing.
Okay, so it's paid out, right? Okay, as it should be. Yeah. No, that's good. I want to make sure we're not at risk. Just carrying a lot of those hours is liability, it's cash.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That we have to make sure it's set aside just for that.
Oh, sick leave.
Yeah.
A lot of sick leave programs are a big liability.
Yeah. Because what happens if you carry a lot of it, then people want to take time off and need employees and you don't have employees because you're taking time off. It's easier to pay people out.
So is there any other questions or concerns about the policies? Can I call for the vote then? Yeah. Everybody in favor?
Yep.
Those in favor? Yeah.
Yeah.
Motion is carried. Bylaw 2023-04 being the bylaw to establish services. The motion reads that we, the council of the corporation of the township of Brunel, Lyndoch and Raglan, hereby adopts bylaw 2023-04 being a bylaw to establish a level of service policy for township roads. Did I get a mover on that? Councillor Caulfield, seconded by Councillor Quad. Discussion, comments? No, it's just what Jordan's talking.
Yeah, and we just reviewed all.
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Oh, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so I can call for the vote then? Or those four? Okay, motion is carried. And then you will bring the schedule B and C back to us to be approved separately.
Once we have legal confirmation by the way.
Well, for B, you wouldn't.
For me, it would be.
No, but for
Right to the back.
schedule C. Okay, so we will go into closed session. I'll get a resolution reading that says that we, the council of the corporation, the township of Brunel, Lyndoch and Raglan, go into closed session pursuant to the municipal act 2001, section 239, sub 2, for the purposes of subsection B, personal matters about an identified individual, including municipal or local board employees, and 2 items under D, labor relations or employee negotiations. Did I get a mover on that, please?
No.
I can move. Councillor Campbell, second. Councillor Day. Any discussion, any comment?
No.
I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Motion is carried. Ooh.
Then.
That the council of the corporation of the township of Brunel, Lyndoch and Raglan come out of the closed session at 10:04 p.m. You not just do that resolution? Okay. Can I get a mover on that? Councillor Banks, seconded by Councillor Caulfield. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Motion carried. In closed session, we discussed 3 about 3 identifiable individuals, which is authorized under the municipal act. Motion reads that we, the council of the corporation of the township of Brunel, Lyndoch and Raglan, hereby adopts bylaw 2023-05, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the January 5th, 2023 regular meeting of council. They get a mover for that. Councillor Keller, Councillor Quad. Any discussion? No. Call for the vote. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Motion is carried. That this meeting adjourns at 10:06 p.m. and need a mover. Councillor Crawford.
Yeah, no, move now.
All in favor?
No.
Yeah.